Well, we're here with Maestro to talk about the 2012-2013 season of San Antonio Symphony. And if there's two big footprints that you're going to talk about and make in the 2012-13 season, it's Verdi Wagner and Brahms.
It's Verdi Wagner and Brahms. Verdi Wagner share the same year of birth, so 1813, so the bicentenary is in the same year. So in the season 12-13 and the season 13-14, we will present a lot of Verdi and Wagner. In this season, the biggest pieces were the Verdi Requiem and the Ring Without Words. And the Brahms Festival, again, now becomes a favorite of San Antonio. I think our festival idea, after Tchaikovsky, Beethoven, it's going to be Brahms. The 4 concerti and the 4 symphonies.
Well, you start off, we're going to quickly go through the season, and you start off with what you call Rock 3. And if there's a rock star and piano virtuoso, it certainly is Rachmaninoff's Third Piano Concerto.
Yeah, which for a long time was meant to be unplayable, and then Horowitz featured it, and he was like the only guy who could play it. Now we have a lot of young talented pianists who can, and this is Catherine Chi. She's a wonderful virtuoso, and she will bring that piece to life. And I think the combination of this with Rhapsody, the Capriccio Espagnol by Rimsky-Korsakov, and then this Verdi choruses is a very, very great gala opener of the season.
Yeah, and finishing off with Bizet.
Yeah, so it's a best of. Yeah, it's a little bit almost like the Arthur Fiedler Boston Pops.
We move into the next of Symphony Fantastique, starting with the American Tobias Picker.
Yeah, Tobias Picker, wonderful American composer, wonderful American opera composer, and this is a reflection on Texas rivers. You know, it's a beautiful piece, a beautiful. Reflective piece, and I wish we could bring some pictures and images of some Texas rivers there. There's amazing photography, actually. We have actually even patrons who do amazing photography. So we try to make a little Texas exhibition on that.
But then we have a Schumann and of course the Berlioz.
Berlioz Symphonie Fantastique, which is I mean, this is one of these landmark pieces. Berlioz's idea of this idée fixe, of this beloved he can't reach, and then this finale with these huge bells and the Dies Irae and the Sabbath of the Witches. It's just an amazing, colorful piece. And in the middle we have this Schumann violin concerto. Schumann, Berlioz, colleagues that admire each other a lot. And with this wonderful superstar violinist by Basgride. I'm a big Schumann lover. You don't have to convince me to conduct Schumann anytime. And when she came up with this, I said, brilliant idea. So we bring, I think, a not so known concerto by a very well-known composer with a superstar violinist. That's a right combination.
Bolero is next, featuring a Ravel, a Fayet, Debussy, and of course the Bolero.
It's a very Spanish themed program. You know, we have the Falla Spanish Nights in Spanish Gardens with Martina Filiak. She won the Cleveland piano competition. Very colorful piece. And then we have Ravel's Rhapsody Espagnole, which is a masterpiece of orchestration. If you want to learn how to orchestrate, just use that score as your guide. And the Debussy Nocturne, so again, nights in Spanish gardens. We have this nocturnal Spanish feel. It's warm, and it will still be warm in San Antonio. At this, you have this, and it's dark. And then the Bolero, which is, I mean, it's, you know, when the ballet came first out, it was like a big shock because it was like a big orgy on stage. It is and I think I know from my wife, when she listens to it, the piece makes her uncomfortable because it has this thing that drives with no No, for 17 minutes, and that's it. I think techno is based on that idea as well. You know, it is this constant rhythm, and it transforms you. Nobody stays untouched. It's one of these big seller pieces for that very reason. And it's a beautiful piece, of course, to showcase the orchestra.
Well, how different then to go into the next piece in later November, mid-November with Copland's Rodeo, and Ravel and Mozart, the Jupiter Symphony.
The Jupiter Symphony. We have to play Mozart. The majestic in the acoustics in the majestic, because of the size of the hall and the size of the stage, is not always favorable to these pieces. Jupiter is a piece, though, that has a certain grandeur, needs also a certain bigger string section, I think. It's not one of these small chamber pieces. It represents Jupiter. It's his last symphony. I recorded all Mozart symphony, the last 3 Mozart symphonies just 2 years ago, and it is one of my really favorite symphonies.
Well, then the curiosity in me has to ask you that you go from this most famous of symphonies and you pick an early piece, a K97, for your next concert in January of Mozart's D major symphony.
Yeah.
How is it that you chose that?
I wanted to. This is before Jeff Garza is playing the Mozart horn concerto. I wanted. You have to be careful not to play something before that overpowers that piece, because it's a wonderful piece, but you can't play one of the later symphonies. So, and the early youth symphonies have sometimes quite amazing things.
Yeah, he was 15 when he's writing.
He was 15, and he had these brilliant ideas that might even shock us to see, oh my God, that was a wild kid. And I think this complements that program with all-time favorite.
Yeah, you
Dvorak
get forward into the 20th century where you hear John Adams.
John Adams, and then you have truly American, and then Dvorak 8, and Dvorak, isn't he an American composer anyway? Well, he wrote the first American symphony, so New York, New World, the New World Symphony.
I think he was in New York, though.
He was in New York, yeah.
Symphony, back again to Symphony Espagnole in the end of January with Chabrier and very famous and very favorite, the Lalo Symphony Espagnole. I don't know that this symphony I've ever heard that.
This is a violin concerto. Symphony Espagnole is a violin concerto.
Exactly.
So this is a violin concerto.
And Karen is going to be playing.
Karen Gomio is playing it. I think, again, a wonderful young violinist. She's a superstar again, and she will make. This is a very virtuoso piece. You have to have the chops to do it. You know, it's an unforgiving piece, like all these French virtuoso pieces by Saint-Saëns or Lalo.
Very romantic.
And yeah, very romantic, colorful, fantastic piece.
Speaking of fantastic pieces, Ives, to me, it's the most beautiful symphony imaginable of this American.
Yeah,
Insurance Man.
This American Insurance Man. That is not a catching phrase, maybe to sell a composer, but yes, Ives revolutionized American music.
And you'll hear American music through it.
Yes, what I love about Ives is that he takes everything. Look, it's again a recycling artist, you know, getting all styles mixed up. And every time you hear something, I've heard that before, but where I don't know. And I think the genuine style of Ives makes you think, I know this, and you don't know what it is. Every time you hear 2 bars of Ives, and once you got into that, well, that's Ives. It needs to be Ives. He created a style by creating a style that you can't define.
And then he ends as only Ives could end. Kind of, you're not figuring out, how did this end?
It's over.
It's suddenly over.
But it's but also a very romantic piece. I mean, in terms of orchestration, it's a wonderful symphony.
February starts the Brahms.
Yeah.
So why did you choose Brahms for your 3rd festival? And what do you want to say?
May I say, why do I choose Brahms? Because I love Brahms. I mean, how can you not love Brahms? There's this famous Sagan, François Sagan, has a movie about this. Aimez-vous Brahms? Do you love Brahms? Very famous movie. I think we should show that movie during the festival. The third movement of the Third Symphony is the main theme in this movie. Now Brahms is just the composer, the symphonic composer of the late 19th century. I mean, if you pick the favorite symphonic composer, that would be him, with no doubts. And so in my mission, you know, to progress and to develop the relationship with the orchestra and to go deeper into the core repertoire, Brahms is the very logic consequence to Beethoven Festival, and it offers us the possibility to have a very intense festival in a 2-week period of time and create again this buzz around the community. Brahms also offers the possibility of playing so much chamber music. So Brahms is the man for that. It gives the community the chance to explore him across the whole city in all organizations with great chamber music. And we bring 2 superstar soloists. Kirill Gerstein just was awarded 2 years ago with a Gilmour Award, which is basically the Nobel Prize for Music in America. Vadim Glucksmann, who was here to play the Beethoven Violin Concerto, one of the finest violinists of his generation. And then this long version of the cello, Zhang Wang, fantastic cellist, Deutsche Grammophon artist, really the top of his class. And
so on a Friday you're going to hear Piano Concerto 1 of Brahms.
And the Saturday, the second Piano Concerto, Symphony number 1, Symphony number 2, so it's different programs.
Different program Friday, Saturday.
Different programs Friday, Saturday, like in the Tchaikovsky Festival. And then the following week, different programs, Symphony number 3 and 4, and double and violin concerto. So you have to come to all events, otherwise you look like a loser to your friends.
Fire and Blood comes next. Andre is coming in to play Fire and Blood. I don't know that piece.
Fire and Blood is a Michael Doherty violin concerto. It's a fabulous American piece. Fabulous piece.
How is it that you know this piece?
I actually, through the artist, Alexandre, he introduced it to me. I was immediately hooked on it. It's based on this famous Diego Rivera painting that he did in Detroit. It has this connotation, fire and blood. You know, it's also the life in a factory, and you know, it's a lot of behind this.
Is it contemporary?
It's completely contemporary piece. It's a fabulous piece. Very well written for the violin. And of course the title Fire and Blood is very much Wagnerian. I mean, Fire and Blood, and the Götterdämmerung finishes with this, the blood, but most importantly the fire, the immolation scene at the end of Götterdämmerung. So there the connotation is quite clear, and when we do the Ring Without Works, I put really together a chronological sequence of the highlights of the Ring. Starts from the very first note of Rheingold and it finishes with the very last note of Götterdämmerung. And you will hear the Ride of the Valkyries. I can assure you, I don't leave that out. And Wotan's Farewell, and it's a great journey.
And the Rhine Journey, I guess.
The Rhine Journey, yeah, and Siegfried's Funeral March.
Yeah.
And the murmurs of Siegfried, and and the entry of the gods in Valhalla.
The only thing missing is Wintersturm, probably.
Yeah, you could. Well, this is hard without a singer.
Yeah, Four Seasons is a great favorite. Four Seasons not only to highlight Vivaldi, back again with the Baroque.
Yeah, again, one of those pieces. I mean, if the recording industry had to base their income on a few pieces, they would pick the Four Seasons. And Jimmy Lin. When Jimmy comes here, I think this is again a fantastic way of a play direct, of an artist who brings something very special. He will change the way the string section sounds dramatically by his direction, I think, in a good way. So it's an exciting concept, and this Schubert 6, very Rossini piece is a fabulous. And you discover a few other Schubert pieces that you have never heard for violin and orchestra, and that are also very, very, very charming.
I mean, he had such a short life, but such impactful life. Imagine if he had lived beyond 35, 6,
that
7
is,
years.
I think, sometimes you think, why did they die so early? They burned themselves out very early. I mean, in the case of Mozart, it's very clear. I mean, the oeuvre he left was immense. Of course, if he had lived another 40 years, the world of music would have been richer. In the case of Schubert, I think it's even more tragic, because he just entered a new phase, and it goes beyond imagination what he could have been, doing if he had lived another just 10 years.
Yeah.
I would give.
Really?
I would give. You don't say that, but I would give a lot to just have.
Speaking of longevity, if anybody had longevity, it was Verdi. And here, the following weeks, in April 12th and 13th, is the Requiem.
Is the Requiem. And I say one of my favorite pieces is one of his last pieces, Falstaff, and so could you imagine he hadn't composed that? The Verdi Requiem is one of the best choral orchestra pieces that there is.
Where was this in his life, the Requiem?
Middle end. So and here that's Verdi at his height.
Born in 1813, dies nearly in the 20th century or into the 20th century.
Yeah, 1901.
1901.
So yes, he is the true man of a whole century. And again, like Wagner, yes, they are opera composers, mainly opera composers. And the Verdi Requiem is, in a way, an operatic piece. There are actually staged versions of it. I've seen staged versions of the Verdi Requiem. But what I'm saying is that yes, they are opera people, but they influenced the history of music for everything that has been written dramatically. And we have a superstar cast led by Ana Maria Martinez, again, one of America's most influential and most interesting singers, a great friend of Plácido Domingo. So she will lead this cast that fires up the Majestic.
Well, you continue on with Verdi in the next concert in early May with Overture to Nabucco, and then with a Beethoven piano concerto and a Sibelius symphony.
Yeah, Sibelius' Fifth Symphony, Beethoven Fourth. Finally, we play Beethoven again. His Fourth Piano Concerto. I think it's with this intimate start, it's a fantastic piece. Nabucco, I just love this overture. It's an early Verdi. It has all this youth and this drive of an early Verdi. A little bit of this rawness in it, which I really, really, really like. So it's a great contrast with the intimate start of the Fourth Piano Concerto of Beethoven. And then Sibelius, who, like no other composer, represents a world that has been not in the center of the music history, the Scandinavian countries, and especially Finland. But this one man shifted the music center of the 20th century a few thousand kilometers north. Quite interesting. And he created a musical language that is so different from anything else and so special. I remember a rehearsal with Leonard Bernstein on that symphony. He said to me, this is the longest accelerando in music history. There's a piece that starts at the first, the scherzo starts, the first beat, and you have to continuously getting faster till you reach the end of it. Very big challenge for a conductor. Because if you push it too hard and you have 5 minutes to go and you can't go any faster, that's nightmare. If you can't get it moving, it's terrible.
Well, then contrasting from Beethoven, Sibelius, back to Mozart, back to the classic era, but then polishing it off against Shostakovich.
Yeah, as I said, I see this neoclassical approach of Shostakovich a lot, and 8 is one of those most powerful pieces. It is a really power horse. You don't want to play Rachmaninoff before that.
No.
You want to have an entree that...
Orchestra needs something left in the gas tank.
Yeah, and also you need to have something reflected. So I love the idea of the Mozart before, and I'm very, very happy that we have Michel D'Alberto coming, who is France's finest pianist and an all-time friend, a wonderful artist, and he has this touch, this French touch of Mozart, you know, that just reminds me a lot of Clara Haskell when he plays Mozart.
And then what a way to polish off the season with the Mahler Third.
Mahler Third Symphony. You know, why am I not doing Mahler 2? Well, it's the resurrection. I want to keep it for the Tobin Center when the Tobin Center gets resurrected, or the municipal auditorium.
Oh, you're not going to do 8? You decided on 2?
Of course. First of all, I think that actually 2 is
bigger.
No, it is it's 8 is big because it's big. 2 is big because it's great.
No. But I think, do you agree that if you hear Mahler 3 and you hear his themes, many themes there, you're now introduced into the Mahler sound and you'll never mistake anything you ever hear again. Mahler 3 gives you all you need to know. Between Mahler 1 and 3, you need to know about the sound of Mahler. And
then there are other pieces like 7 where you think, oh my God, where does that come from? You know, or 6. You know, the most Mahlerian Mahler are to me 5 and 9, and the most pure. Interestingly enough, the ones without human voice is needed because he. But then there's 4. I mean, again, once you enter that discussion, it never ends because it's a composer who, yes, had a main theme going through all the symphonies, but created a different style in every single one of them.
You said you wanted us to always, maybe the Bruckner would be an entree to love of San Antonio with Bruckner. What about Mahler?
Mahler, the same thing. I talked to Ken David about it, and he said, look, this is really funny in this city. You know, there are certain things you can't sell. You can't even sell a Mahler symphony, which was proven wrong when I arrived because I conducted Mahler 1 as my introductory concert. It was a sellout event, if I remember well. It was quite an amazing welcome. So I think we started on a very good foot with Mahler. But Mahler, you need to take in small dosage. It's dangerous for conductors and for orchestras. If you overdose Mahler, you get wrapped up in something. You need to come back to the roots from time to time. And the emotional content in this. I could never conduct Mahler 9 on a tour, meaning repeating it 8, 10, 12 times. You have to die a little bit at the end of this piece. You have to go through this whole thing, and you have to kind of understand what it means when your heart starts doing funny things with you. And it has an effect on your health, to be quite honest. You go so far, and that's the problem with Mahler. You can't keep the distance. So you can't just die one night and resurrect the next day to conduct another Mahler 9 and go so on. So Mahler cycle over a very long period of time. In small
Mahler
doses.
always lived with this idea that if he got to 9, he was going to die.
Yeah, that's why he started 10 before. How stupid is that? That's great Jewish superstition, I know, and Middle Central European superstition. I'm a big fan of this, but how do you get around fate by starting 10 before you...
That was Gustav Mahler. Thank you, Maestro.
Thank you very much.